It was when I grabbed my smartphone and I shot something and I was able to edit on it, and then I was able to post it to something that I realized that, oh shit, everyone's gonna do this. Yeah. And sooner or later, businesses are gonna do this, and it's going to be huge.
You're listening to the Yolo Rum Podcast with producer Wiggins.
Yolo Rum Podcast. I am producer Wiggins, Chief Digital Officer for Yolo Rum. You know, we've been doing the Yolo Rum Podcast, a couple years now, but we've failed to have the consistency, if you will, the frequency, the thing that you guys want when you want to hear these episodes, to where it's like on a regular basis. I mean, who wants to watch a show once every 6 months? So
and never know when it's on.
And never know when it's on. So that's what's bringing me to this man right here. He has come on board to the Yolo Rum team, made a tremendous difference for us. He's a digital media planner and a producer for Yolo Rum. And you know, you take my title, it's okay, because you've definitely proven that you can help us take this to the next level. Kevin Fox is with us on the Yolo Rum Podcast.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here today. And there could be more than one producer. I mean, in film, there's multiple producers. There's only maybe one executive producer, but there's plenty of producers, and you're doing a fantastic job doing that.
No, it's been awesome, Kevin, because you really came on board and you made a difference for us. You came in and you saw there was holes in the ship, so to speak. It wasn't necessarily holes, there was a little bit of leakage. But you said, hey, this is what we could do to clean this up. Follow this schedule. Let's put these things in place. But I want to get to that. I want to get to what your role is ultimately for us, okay, and how you helped us progress to where we're at.
Sure.
I think there's a better story, because when I was researching you, because
research.
Oh yes, the research is there. Wow. I had to. The guy said he was going to research me, so I was like, oh, how dare you? How dare you?
I was just trying to be a teacher and saying like, you better study because there might be a test.
And I am terrible with tests, but that's okay. So I want to know about middle school. Something happened in middle school, and you made a feature film, Careful What You Wish For.
That's very true.
And you blew up?
Well, really it all started back in the 80s. VHS recorders were huge, widely available, right?
Yeah.
And my father handed me one when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and I would make commercials for things. I would make up commercials, ActiFed or any of these things I would see on television. I'd try to make these really interesting commercials with my brother. And
like duplicate it? You just
absolutely.
Recreate it?
Absolutely. You know, I was a product of the 80s. Our parents were doing other things, and they were like, hey, here you go. And I was constantly creating content. What happened was when I hit about middle school, I would record a lot of programming on television. DVRs weren't around then, so
just hit the record on the shows.
Right, but I didn't have any money, so guess what I was recording over?
Family tapes, right?
I was recording over all of my stuff that I created when I was a young kid. So I had this moment where I was like, I just lost all of my childhood, and I need to get back into this. So when I was in middle school, had a vocational school which allowed students to go to a public access station and learn the skills of being in television productions. And it would put you as a director, as a cameraman, as talent every single day. Instead of doing the typical math, science, and all that stuff, I would go to that school and participate in creating content.
That's awesome.
So yes, I made a small film called Careful What You Wish For.
Is it an action thriller? It sounds like an action thriller. Like it's totally like a...
Basically it was about a guy who thought he was ungrateful for his life. And basically he was ungrateful for his friends and everything around him. And he was walking down an alleyway, and a bum asked him for something, and he kind of blew him off. And he told him, like, what do you wish? And he was like, I wish that, you know, I didn't live here or something like that. And he goes, careful what you wish for. And he kind of wakes up, and it's kind of like the George Bailey story, A Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who he is, and he goes around to see his friends, and nobody knows who he is.
This is elaborate for middle school. I gotta say, this is
one best innovated film in the Northeast. I got to travel to New York and accept an award for it. And basically, it wasn't for the storyline, because the storyline was kind of shit, but it was more about just putting the shots together and creating a full length short film.
Well, and it's not like today where you
Absolutely not.
just get on a computer and
Absolutely
you make it how
not.
you
We
want
weren't
to,
using computers. We were actually using SVHS tapes and beta tapes, and we were cutting reel to reel.
Reel to reel. I did that. I did that same editing where you had like one VHS tape, another VHS tape,
sync
a
'em up.
giant machine.
You hit a button, it plays, and then it starts right at that moment. And if you screw up, you can only do it so many times before the tape kind of wears out in that spot. Yeah. And from there, I was always a practitioner of video productions, either creating content on a public access channel. Even after I was done school, I would sign up and have a midnight show that played every single week, and I would do weird skits or just strange. I was just playing with the tools that I had, and I kept doing it for years, always as a hobby. It was never really a career path that I was going after, because at that time, money was more important to me. Women were pretty important to me.
So at that point, what age are you when you're starting?
20 years old.
Okay, so we jumped ahead a little bit from middle school. You got that bug
Did
in
about
you.
6 years, and then of really learning the trade. And then kind of was like, okay, cool, let me go to Grateful Dead shows and Fish shows and travel. And I would always come back to it. I always had a camera. I'd always shoot something. But I never took it as a career path until probably in my late 20s.
But you went to college, though, for radio and TV.
I did.
So was that in between the Fish shows?
I did. I would go to school for like 6 months, and then I'd be done with it, and then I would leave. I'd finish the semester, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna go travel for a bit, and then come back a year later and do another semester. I would do that for maybe 6 years of my life. Wow. Started a cafe with my brother here in Denver. That's what got me to Colorado. And took classes at DU randomly. Just I didn't even pay for them. Someone would tell me that there was a journal, there was somebody speaking about journalism, and they would say you should go see that, and I'd be like, totally, and I'd just go.
Because you could just walk into the class.
Yeah, because our cafe was actually on the campus, so everybody thought I was a student anyways at the time. So, and everyone knew me, so they were just like, hey, are you going to that class? And I'd be like, yeah. And they're like, what fraternity are you in? I'm like, all of them.
Would ever want to let me in that night?
I knew that I never wanted to really work for anybody else. And in my mind, I said that a piece of paper is not going to change my course in my life. A lot of people go to college because they want the piece of paper at the end of it, but they don't know what they're going to do. Yeah. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I was just trying to be a practitioner and learning all the things I didn't know through whatever avenue was
experience in life prepared you for your career ultimately.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, I treated this as a hobby. I was a practitioner for up until my late 20s. And
so you continued the cafe. You did that for.
I started. I was doing restaurants. I was doing marketing. I was doing PR. I was doing restaurants. I was doing marketing. I was doing PR. Over and over again. You know, like a new restaurant would open. I would go work at. I would also then say, hey, you know, we should do this advertisement over here, or we should get on the radio over here, or this, that, and the other thing. And so I always had my fingers in media somewhere.
And you knew when you said, hey, let's do advertising here, did you know full-heartedly that was the right choice, or were you kind of like, let's see what happens here? Or
well,
was it kind of
when you're in the restaurant industry, every single day somebody walks in and says, we want you in our magazine, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, we want to sell you radio ads or something. And I would be like, well, let's try it for free, right? Or like, well, you give us a little bit to see if it works. Mm-hmm. And if it does, you know, so a lot of times I'd just go down that avenue and be like, oh, this works. Let's keep doing it. Tell the boss. And like, yeah, we should keep doing ads over here. In fact, one of my last radio shows I was doing, I was going to be on one of the largest platforms for food in Massachusetts. And as I'm going to the event, to the radio show, my wife was giving birth to our child, so I had to turn around. And that's one show that I regret that I missed, but it was good for a good reason.
Everything happens for a reason as it needs to. So, well, it's interesting because you had that crazy run, and now all of a sudden you get into this world of you want to be an entrepreneur, and you.
No, I didn't want to be an entrepreneur.
That wasn't the goal when you were helping these brands and marketing.
No. I never considered myself to be an entrepreneur. I've always considered myself to just follow my own path, and my own path led me to saying like, okay, well, I need to feed myself somehow, right? And so just keep going down these paths. People started calling me an entrepreneur, more than I called myself an entrepreneur.
Which is almost a compliment to get recognized.
In this day and age, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So
Well, everyone thinks they are.
yeah, at least they think they are. I spent a lot of years just being a practitioner of video productions, of marketing, of branding, of journalism, and having all of those skills wrapped up allowed me to become what you may say an entrepreneur in the digital marketing, social brand networking.
But so everything you did was pre-social media, pre-digital?
Absolutely. I mean, everything I was doing was in the old traditional methods of marketing and branding, which was via magazines, via newspapers, radio, television commercials. Like you would see the news stations do a little report on a local cafe or a local restaurant. I would always make sure that we would get our spot, or I would not just get my spot, but I'd be like, I got 3 friends that have 3 restaurants. What about getting them on?
Yeah.
And then I'd kind of go back to them and be like, yo, I got you on this show. And they're like, sweet, here's a free meal. So like
networking before networking.
More or less. Yeah.
The pre-dawn of networking.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that it was right. And what I was doing was truthful, and it was me.
Yeah.
So, and it's led me all the way down to where I am now.
So when social media became introduced, obviously you had to evolve to know that you could really market for companies on it. It took a while. Did you see that wild, wild west open terrain right away and saw the value in it? How did you get into that world of knowing that you could help businesses?
I don't think it was until everyone had a smartphone in their hand. Because when YouTube came out, this was still a time where you would have to have a camera that had, you could have plug-in audio, you were still using cameras, so it wasn't readily available for everybody to be posting or editing or doing all that stuff. It was when I grabbed my smartphone and I shot something and I was able to edit on it, and then I was able to post it to something that I realized that, oh shit, everyone's gonna do this. Yeah. And sooner or later, businesses are going to do this, and it's going to be huge.
And that's where you really kind of catapulted, right? Because you've done things. You've gone viral several times. You've helped companies really get a brand recognition. Not so much promoting yourself. You've just helped these companies take it to the next level. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was until about 5 years ago I started noticing that the way people were marketing their brands on social media wasn't getting the engagements anymore. Like at
used to trend like
anything
crazy.
At that point would trend, and then it started dipping, right? And I noticed that what people were actually using their devices for, or going on these platforms for, they weren't going on to look at your commercial. They weren't going on to be like, hey, let's
sell me something.
Let's see what Tide's doing today. Like, no one gives a shit about Tide.
Yeah.
Like, but as you notice,
well, I don't know, those Tide Pods kind of, they would.
But that was a trend, and the idea is that like you need to create experience pieces. You need to create organic videos that are engaging and either entertain, educate, or offer some kind of value to the consumer on the other end, which is holding the device. And I just noticed that a lot of brands were not doing it.
They still don't. And
that's where we kind of came together. And I started working with a lot of brands doing this. It was kind of walking in and be like, so you use social? And they'd be like, yeah, but it doesn't work. I'm like, tell me what you do. And they're like, well, we go on there and we tell people to buy this product. And I'm like, okay, so when did you ever turn on something and be like, I'm gonna go check out like this advertisement? You don't.
Yeah, I'm looking for Tide right now. Yeah.
You're there to be entertained, educated, or off
to escape. You want to escape. Your goal is to escape. You don't want to just be Yeah.
And what I also noticed then, a lot of these brands that were kind of doing it right, they were doing it organically and not understanding what they were doing, and they were never doing it consistently in all.
Or capitalize off of what was successful for them. Correct. And realizing how they can continue that. So it is interesting because you said that's when you came into Yolo Rum and helped us, and you kind of rocked my world, right? So you came in and you said, yeah, it was kind of like, I come from the background of, like you said, traditional radio repeat, it's like that whole concept. And you came in and you said, why are you on your phone? You're social. And I sometimes I hate even saying what you tell me to everyone just because there's so much into it. But but you were dead on. You made that difference, and for Sam, the communications officer here, you said, hey, people are on there to be social, and so you've really helped our brand, I think, encapsulate what that messaging is.
The word is social media, right? It's social media. When you only provide the media, you're only giving half of what is necessary to get followers to engage in your products. So you need to be social. This means you need to actually engage with the people that are on your pages.
You guys.
Yeah, I mean, every single day, I don't know how many times I tell you, like, you got to go on there and you have to comment on your followers because they send you comments. I came in here and I'm like, all right, well, this person commented, nobody said anything. I mean, they were talking to you, and then nobody was talking back. And
that doesn't work for anyone. I mean, it's like having a phone call and no one's talking.
Remember we talked about the two-way street thing, right? So like radio was, it was projected this way without any kind of visuals. Television came along and it offered the ability to see and hear, but you weren't able to communicate back to it, right? And then when social media came around and you were able to see, hear, and communicate back, a lot of folks were doing 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3. And it just wasn't working. So when I come into brands like yours, I notice what's not working. Hello?
Hello? Well, right now, we're getting a phone call right now.
And let's take a caller,
Hey,
folks.
we got a caller in two-way street right here.
But
You're on live with Kevin and
But
Wiggins.
that's the idea, is that it's a two-way street that you need to communicate to your audience. You need to listen to them, and you need to engage with them on a daily basis. And if you're not doing that, then you're not going to be successful on social media. It's impossible.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what influencers do. And
Organically. A lot of them don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah. And then they're making money off of it.
Yeah.
And they're making a career out of it.
How do you do it? And they're like, I don't know. I'm just on my phone all day talking to people everywhere. And
making them feel valued. And I think we do that with the Yolo Rum investors that have come on board. Like we definitely want to talk to them.
Yes.
And so, but you're right, that relationship needs to kind of be reciprocated back and forth. And I think to your point, we showed everyone that we have those Yolo Rum minis coming out.
Sure.
And the reaction to that was the comments, oh my God, I want to get this on a plane. How do I get this? And we have to engage with them.
Not just hitting the like button or the heart or whatever it is. You actually need to say, Sarah, we can't wait either. We're going to let you know when it's when it comes out immediately.
Not a robotic response. No. It's just a real personal
And a lot of
response.
people don't want to do that.
Let's talk about coffee.
Sure.
Because I think that
coffee's a big part of my life.
Coffee's a huge part of your life,
Yes, it is.
And I think I watch what you do, not in a creepy way, but I watch what you do and what you do for the talk about the coffee.
Okay, yeah. So a few years back, I started creating these things called VNR, video news releases. These were reels of footage from a brand followed by a press release that I would send out to media outlets and whatnot, right? And I reached out and met Strava Craft Coffee, which just opened up their doors. And really, one was a roaster and one was just an architect, or he was just, a businessman.
Local, right? All in Denver?
In Denver. They were from Denver, yeah, exactly. So I previously just had a score with 42 million views on Udalad, or I think it was.
I think you're right.
Udalad.
Yeah.
I think it was Udalad that I was on. And basically, I kept sending out all these reels, and then they would make their own pieces of content from the videos I sent them.
Because you're doing their job for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's downgrading, and everybody's like, working with one producer and one press agent now. Like nobody's working with 15 reporters anymore. Like it's going faster. So I started doing that a lot, and I was contacted by a guy named Peter Spires, and Peter Spires is a director out in Los Angeles, and he was doing a film about the cannabis industry called The Legend of 420. And I had enough of these reels about all the different spaces in the cannabis industry, and I was just like, hey, do you want to include this in the movie?
Again, it's just like that relationship you had where, hey, I know some other restaurants down here.
Exactly, and it was just that sense of communication. Somebody's talking to you engage back with them. And I ended up getting Strava on there, Bud and Breakfast, High End Transportation, My 420 Tours, a few other ones on this film. And after that, Strava went from a garage to a 14,000 square foot facility because of the Netflix film that came out that Peter directed, and I was able to be a field producer on. And so now Strava and I have joined forces, and I create daily content for them.
I was gonna say, because it evolved. That was great. You blew it up. You networked the right way. But now what you do on a daily basis is completely.
I'm being a practitioner of what I'm preaching to you and to everybody else. And coffee's a passion of mine. See, the key to this is that you need to be truthful to yourself and what you feel comfortable doing. A lot of influencers take money from brands that they don't back and they don't feel right about, but they take the money anyways.
They just want the cash.
And it ends up being a short relationship because they don't feel it. So the idea is that you have to work with passionate people that are in those brands.
It's the same thing like you just said. Is it just a like, or are you commenting right back?
Exactly. So I love coffee a lot. And so every single day, Kevin and I and crew, we will just go on, talk to the audience. We do question and answer. I'll go live with people. I'll give away free coffee. I will make brewing videos of different ways to brew coffee. We have a show called Kevin and Kevin Drink Coffee, which is all of our segments of the week wrapped up into one show. And then we go on like this and be like, so let's check out that next segment.
I love what you're doing with that. And it really, just being a creative mind myself, I'm encouraged by that and I'm motivated by that.
You have to be a practitioner.
It's exciting.
You have to be a practitioner. I can't say that enough. So many folks don't know where to start, and the start is just start. Yeah. Just do it. You're gonna suck for a long time. You might suck forever if you're not talented. But if you actually keep doing it, you're gonna get better, hopefully. And when you get better, and what is it, 10,000 hours of something, you become a pro. Yeah. If you spend 5 years doing something, pretty much, you will learn those skills. You will.
And you may not even know it.
But it's only there if you have the passion, you'll be able to do it. If you don't have the passion for it, then it'll never come to fruition.
Yeah.
So I just come into brands. I love Yolo. I actually met Phil when I was working with Jason Harris, Jerome Baker.
Okay.
I just finished the world's largest bong. One of my clients created the Cannabis Museum in Las Vegas, and he asked me to write the narrative for it, how the flow was, and kind of just go out there and drag in a community, create a community. And Jason Harris, I filmed him in Seattle and in Las Vegas, and he called me and he was like, I'm in Denver, come to this thing. And I got there, and he was actually talking with Phil. And just through what I've done with Jason, he was like, dude, Phil, you gotta work with this guy. And I'm like, and he's like, no, seriously. And I'm like, all right, thank you. And I'm like, and the next day I just, I checked out Yolo Rum, and right away, and I think Greg said this a while back, he's like, you got me with the name. Mm-hmm. You only live once, Yolo Rum. I'm like, that's a brand we can actually do something with.
Yeah.
Like Strava means to strive. So like all of our content is about being a better person, striving to be your best. Yolo, you only live once. Jakes, you owe me a drink.
I owe you some rum and Coke.
So what did we talk about? So when we met up together,
well, what's interesting about Phil is the man is a digital genius, but is not on digital. And so it's really interesting to have a sit down with him and be like, hey, this is the direction that we need to go. He has the foresight to understand it, but he's not involved in it. So I think that to have you here, and I think that's what Phil clicked for him, and I mean, I'll let you speak more onto that, but I think that's kind of what happened is he realized you were that translation between what his vision is and how to get us to go there.
Yeah, I mean, back to my waiting days and being in the restaurant industry, I'm just a waiter. Okay, Phil is my customer. He comes in and he wants an egg with no egg, an omelet with no egg. I'd always say, and I know what that means. And basically, all I'm doing is reporting, asking you for the salad, Jim for the soup, Sam for the steak, and putting it all on the
My dish always comes out cold because it's a little late. It's a little late to the table, but it's still good.
Couple days sometimes. But the idea is that all I'm doing is being that waiter that's able to multitask and pull everything together to create an experience. Yeah. And I'm doing that with Yolo Rum by trying to bring in the audience to be more engaging, ask questions, shoot videos for you to do what you do best. And one of the things I always said, do what you do best and let me find somebody else to do the rest.
Yeah.
So if you're not good at editing or shooting or wanting to be on camera or writing blogs or doing these things, let me know. Don't say yes to me and then it comes out like shit. Like, say no and then double down on those friggin' things that you're good at.
Well, I have a terrible saying, but it goes towards coffee, but I say, if you have 7 fingers on a hand, you can't hold the coffee cup.
True.
And so that's kind of what you came in and instilled upon us and said, hey, and you know what, you really do practice what you preach, because I think when you came in and you sat down with Sam and I had been trying to work on a schedule. Our goal, like, we knew the direction we needed to head. I think
guys wore a lot of hats.
We were wearing a lot of hats, and I think that we were like, all right, let's build this schedule, let's figure it out. But we didn't have any foundation behind us, a background to say, hey, this is the right way of doing it. So when you came in, you really said, all right, this is what you need to do. This is the best way to execute it. Maybe initially I'd be like, man, he's crazy. Week by week, I'd be like, this man is out of his fox's mind.
Reverse engineering exactly everything that you thought you needed to do is probably the number one thing that I try to preach and teach everybody every single week. You think like, oh, we got to do this first, and I'm like, whoa, take a freaking step back, bro, and let's start right here. And it's small, and then it builds. Like, you want to get to the top of the mountain, man. Don't start running right now because you're going to get tired within 10 minutes. Let's start navigating our way up, pull things in along the way, meet some other people, invite them with us up the hill.
And have them help us.
And then you reach the top and you throw the ring in and you save the whole kingdom.
Well, I love what you do with Kevin and Kevin. I know we have our own ventures that we've been talking about.
I definitely want to continue the podcasting. I definitely want to create more of also a weekly news spot for YOLO, where we can report on interesting and entertaining news, not just in the world of rum.
The things that apply to YOLO.
The things that apply to YOLO, yeah, exactly. Will apply to what the brand represents.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we need to start working on, but I knew that's the end game. Right now, we're over here, and we need to work towards that. Once we get posting, like, what is it, 2 months ago, it was really hard to pull the schedule together. Now we have the schedule together. Now we were posting 2-3 days a week. Now we're posting 5 days a week. Oh, now we're adding a few extra stories.
We got recipes.
Now we got recipes. Now we got a blog writer. Then we're now, so we're building on it. And everybody wants it right now. But like, you have to put in the time, you have to put in the energy, and you have to keep doing it consistently if you want to get there. It's going to take a while.
You know, there's one thing I dislike about you, though. I have to.
It's probably my hair.
No, well, see, I had to get a haircut, first of all, because your hair is so freaking awesome to begin with. I was like,
you always call me and just like, not as good as you, buddy.
Your hair just looks so good. But I love the fact that you're a WWE fan.
Huge.
I love the fact that you're a Star Wars fan.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why the Vince McMahon thing's so important to me is, as a young kid, I learned that every single week that guy would come in and spin something new and get people like engaged. When he comes on and he puts on his program, he's going for attention like every single week. And if it doesn't work, he changes it. Yeah. And he's one of the first innovators to add, like in the football thing that he did,
the XFL, the camera that the NFL still uses to this day. Yes.
And then the backstage stuff. Social media is incredible with the WWE. So like,
love it.
People don't look at that stuff. They're like, oh, it's fake wrestling. I'm like, all right, so is Avengers. But I mean, like, you're not shitting on freaking Captain America fake hitting another dude. It's the same thing as any of these other things, telling stories and I fell in love how his methods of doing this week after week after week, and it helps me be a better practitioner every single week.
Well, and the respect that he gets, and I think that's where you and I are dead on with each other.
It's nice to have another wrestling fan around.
Not only are we going to go to Raw together next time they're here, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, he redefined or he probably even created the pay-per-view. He created. I mean, he used Netflix, but he put his platform of content onto there.
5 years now that he has his platform now.
And so you really have to watch it. And there'd be things, and you're dead on, because there was a social media tool that he used that was, it died. It wasn't that good. It didn't matter. He tried it, and then that was the end of that.
See, that's the thing. It doesn't matter what these platforms are. If you're a practitioner, we got to get on TikTok. Like, we got to get on these things. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. Like there's going to be another one, but like it's important that we explore these avenues, see what works for us. If it feels organic for us, we got to keep doing it. And he's done that a million times over. He dominates Twitter week after week.
And so the only thing that I have against you.
Oh yeah. What's that?
The Patriots, bro. But it's okay because you're from Boston. It's not like it's a bandwagon moment, and they are great, but it's still.
Listen, I mean, everybody wants to take down the top dog, right?
Yeah.
When you're at the top,
everyone's biting at your heels.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? So it's now been 15 years of Patriot dominance, basically.
It'll end soon.
Sure. But that's expected.
Yeah.
Okay. And
But what's not expected is 6 championships and.
No, I mean, I'm still as passionate for the Patriots as I was when they were losing all the time.
Yeah.
And they are getting into that syndrome where people aren't watching because they just expect them to win and whatnot. But the team itself is not expected to win. They walk into every season thinking they're going to lose, and they need to do more to
prepare
win.
for it. Yeah.
I brought something for you.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I'm excited for this.
I
was a little nervous because you said you did research on me, so that got me a little worried.
So I don't know if you own a copy of this shirt, but I found this.
I don't know where you found that.
LarryUncensored.com. Is that you?
Yes, that is me.
Wow, I don't understand. You look like who's the
Gilbert Godfrey is a lot of comparisons.
Who's the horse tooth guy that's on our Broncos there?
Elway. Like Elway's son. I would rather do Elway than hearing.
And then he looks like Ralph Macchio, I think. Karate Kid.
I think
That's for you.
we should put that away.
Put that away. It's a little large.
That's it's funny because
put that away.
there's things in my career that I agree with you 100%. I think we've had a conversation because for me personally in the last year I had to do transition to where I had failures and
Great, failures are incredible.
Failures are incredible. Like never let a failure define.
I want more failures in my life so I can actually have those challenges.
And that's what I experienced over the last year. And so you said you got to do what you love, and I was like, man, I did it. And then last year I got screwed. So, but
we're gonna get screwed again.
But it happens. That's the nature
Absolutely.
of life. And you learn that those failures get you to where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's come full circle to this point of, we did a podcast with Larry Uncensored podcast. The intention of that was to promote Yolo Rum. Sure. That was the original goal. Now we've evolved to a point to where we're promoting Yolo Rum on the Yolo Rum podcast. And we're getting the frequency and consistency with Kevin guiding us and making sure we're doing things
It's you.
the right way.
I'm just here to remind you every single day of the things that you said that you're going to do. So when you say, yes, next week we're going to shoot that, I'm going to put that on a schedule and I'm going to keep reminding you until you do it.
Yeah,
and
I was only bitter because the Super Bowl win, so I had to postpone it for a week.
Thanks for not coming to my Super Bowl party. No one came.
Oh,
it's okay. I did drink a whole bottle of Yolo Rum with my dad.
I'm glad you brought that up. First of all, I want to know what your dad thought of it, just because that's a new customer, someone who doesn't know the brand like you do.
Fantastic. He says he doesn't drink much anymore because of the way he feels in the morning. We drank a whole bottle of the dark.
Yolo Rum Gold.
Yep, the gold, and we felt great the next day.
Age 10 years, sugar-free, gluten-free, and I mean, as long as you don't mix it with anything, you're
yeah, I mean, I think we mixed it with Coke Zero.
Yeah,
because we're trying to be a little healthy.
Yeah,
in some ways.
During the Super Bowl, healthy during the Super Bowl.
So I tasted it and I was blown away.
Was that your first time trying it?
No. Right after you guys took me on, I immediately said, Phil, you got to get me a couple bottles of this so I can kind of either A, show it off, or B, drink it. And over time, I started with Christmas time. I think I started making. With some ginger beer and some lime, and then I did some, the basic Captain, excuse me.
Oh, how dare you, sir! I need you to leave this podcast right now.
It runs off. It just comes off the.
Yeah. But you know what?
Rum and
that is where we want to be.
That's where we want to be.
That's where we want to be.
When I said that,
mine.
that's exactly what we're trying to do, is that we're trying to brand it so people, it just runs off the tongue. It's normal. It's what they order. And that takes being, we're driving for attention every single day. If it's bartenders, if it's restaurant owners, if it's consumers, we need to have Yolo Rum run off their tongue daily. And if that means we're creating content about somebody snowboarding and someone's like, yeah, this is from Yolo Rum, and then another guy goes, what's Yolo Rum? And they're like, oh, it's a rum that's in, like, oh, great, I'll try one of those. Did we mention at one point what did it taste like or how much it cost? No, they wanted to try it because they've watched some great piece of content that they thought was really entertaining, and that's how we're going to get this brand across. We're not marketers, we're brand ambassadors.
Yep.
And that's all of everyone out there as well. I can't say it enough that anyone that's invested into Yolo Rum or anyone that loves Yolo Rum should promote it. If they're on social, if they're with their friends, they need to just talk about it or bring it up or show us.
Phil, the CEO and founder of Yolo Rum, his thing is we're democracy powered and democracy driven, and that is 100% true. Yeah,
well, that campaign that you did really, I saw boost you guys up.
Yeah,
it definitely brought you up, and now your core audience on your social pages and everything else are all investors, so they're really happy to engage and post. Those folks are the ones that I'm trying to reach right now and be like, this is your company, promote it.
Yeah.
Like, you want those stocks to go up, and you want those, if
you want those shares, you want those shares to be worth even more.
Then you need to get out there and promote it.
And this is so true. And so it's important to email getsome@yolorum.com, get on the Facebook, Yolo Rum Facebook, the Yolo Rum Twitter, get on all of that. But if you email us, Sam is amazing in responding. But the best part on the social media part is that two-way street that Kevin was talking about earlier. We're doing that, and that happens every day, every morning. So it's not like you're just going to be throwing it out there and no one's going to see it. So it is important to be part of it.
We will repost anything, mostly anything that people send us, because it's all about the community.
Unless it looks like that John Elway's son picture of me.
I mean, I'm actually going to go return that shirt. I want my money back.
Oh, you paid for this?
I actually had to pay for it. And it even has like a booger stain on it on the corner.
That's gnarly,
so I'm going to return this. Sorry, Phil. This came from, it's funny, it was sold at one of Phil's stores. Imagine that.
Yeah.
$4.20, folks. Wow. There's only a few shirts left.
Well, then we've been selling.
You might want to buy them all up. Give them away as gifts.
Yeah, just give them away. I'll scratch out the back.
Smells nice.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate you. Absolutely. I appreciate everything you're doing for Yolo Rum. I look forward to everything we've been talking about doing, everything that we haven't done yet or even thought of. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. It's only the beginning, and you guys are incredible because you are consistent on driving Yolo to the next level. Every single day you're working some way or another to bring that brand closer to the top of that mountain. And it takes you, it takes everyone with this brand, it takes everyone out there to get you there. And I'm really proud of you guys for all the work you've done so far, and I'm really excited for the next step in Yolo Rum.
You guys have to check out Kevin and Kevin. So you show little clips throughout the week, and then when does the show actually end? This
is my advice to anyone out there that's creating content. The key is to create content all week long. You can use your smartphone. You can use anything that you have that will shoot video. You can even edit on it. You take all of those pieces of content, and then you mash them together for one YouTube program, and then you chop it all up again, and you create micro pieces of content that you put out throughout the week on social. And that's my little formula for getting content out. You either take one big piece and chop it all apart, or you take all those little pieces and you put it all together on one program. The key is that you need to be consistent and create content every single day.
And be grateful that it's not reel to reel. You don't even know.
Holy shit. I mean, those tapes that I used to record on were like 90-minute tapes, and they were a pretty penny back in the day.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's what probably stopped me from being a practitioner as much as I am now, is that a father now of 5 kids, Yes, I'm 5 kids. It was really
Good
expensive.
looking kids though.
But a few, these tapes would cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And at the time, I needed to buy diapers instead of camera equipment, and it was really tough until these things got a lot cheaper and more readily available through just our phones.
Now, isn't it amazing you can't even find VHS if you went in?
And no, I know, and also like it's crazy because I do have really nice cameras, and I find myself shooting with my phone more often than anything else because it's there. It's at the moment. Document, don't create. One of my boys, Gary Vee, always told me, document, don't create. Don't sit around and just think about what you can create. Pull the freaking cameras out and just start shooting and then watch it. Everybody loves reality television. All they do is shoot. And then they make the story from everything that they shot.
Like that, if you don't know, all those like Bachelor, any of those shows, there's a production crew of people sitting in a back room hiding as those people out there are getting filmed. They're writing things down.
They're like, perfect. Perfect. We'll make drama around this and this and this. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to do more often is like, I think Vegas is coming up.
Yep.
And this is my last plug. We're going to go to Vegas and we're going to shoot from when we leave Yolo Rum until we get back to Yolo Rum.
Yep,
and we're going to shoot the whole thing, and it'll give us plenty of content for the next 2 months about all the experiences, all the people we're going to meet out in Vegas for the conference. Everyone.
It's a nightclub expo, so it's going to be
we're going to meet with all these different people, and I'm going to create a lot of great content around that.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate you and everything you've been doing for the Yolo Rum brand. Make sure that you guys check us out, YoloRum.com. Delicious, gluten-free, sugar-free Yolo Rum.
Sure is.
Won 23 international awards. So, I mean,
thank you, Sam.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
It's always about Sam on that one.
Sam,
it wasn't you that reached out to get all those awards. We know that Sam was like, "Oh, look, there's a competition going on."
I just take the credit for it.
You just showed up and smiled. I know what's going on.
I just take the credit for it. Yeah. Kevin, I appreciate you. I love working with you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to everything that's going to go on. Until then, enjoy a cocktail. YOLO.
YOLO.
Visit YoloRum.com for recipes, investing opportunities, and locations where you can find Yolo Rum.